What is up, everybody? It's Thomas Jefferson, and today I'm going to be going over to you APUSH Chapter 10. That's APUS History for those of you that are idiots and don't know what class you're taking. Now, that was not me, so I'm going to talk to you about Chapter 10, launching the new ship of state. A little bit of background. This is right after the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. This is about 13 years later. The Americas have become a country, the United States of America. You know, we're unionized. We are a union of 13 states. We've got a population that is starting to double every 20 years. Now, this population, however still doubling, is still about 90% rural. That is 90% rural. Cannot make a percent sign, but that's fine. So, we're still farming, we're still growing cash crops down in the south and the north. Now, a couple years later, we might start industrializing, yeah, but at this point, we are rural. No cities, no large towns, small towns, spread apart villages, as well as independent homesteads scattered throughout the pioneer lands. That's not an actual word, I apologize. But, anyways, so, now, I said we were 13 states, but we're not. Why? Because 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17 states were added. That's 5 new states for those of you that can't count. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 states. I believe that's right. So those 5 states are Vermont, which is the 14th state, Kentucky, the 15th, Tennessee, the 16th, and Ohio, the 17th. That's 4 new states, actually. Sorry, that's 4. That's not 4. This is 5. That's 4. Anyways, so after the Declaration of Independence was signed, the Constitution came into effect. However, that one was horrible. No one liked it, so they scrapped it, sent it off, kind of put it in the trash can down there. Now, the new Constitution came into effect and was launched 1789. This one had 10 amendments added to it 2 years later called the Bill of Rights. This was part of the condition that states ratify the Constitution on. They said, we're going to ratify this if you make a Bill of Rights that gives us some privileges. So, we're just going to go over those privileges or amendments of the Bill of Rights right now. These are amendments, for those of you that don't know, are additions to the Constitution. We're up in the 20s or 30s now at this point, and they're basically just changes. Now, there are amendments to amendments that cancel other amendments. Gets pretty trippy. But these first 10, very simple, but good to know. So, we're going to start off Amendment 1. This is your freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. This, basically, you can go outside this window and be like, I don't like Trump, and they can't do jack about it. So, Amendment 2. This is your right to bear arms, guns, but this is for the militia at this point. So, the Amendment 3, or the Third Amendment. This is soldiers cannot be housed in civilian homes during peacetime. Wartime, yeah, great, go for it. They need the housing. But during peacetime, no bueno, friends. Now, Amendment number 4. No unreasonable searches, and all searches require warrants. They can't come in my house without a fancy sheet of paper. Basically what that means. Now, Amendment number 5. This is the right to remain silent. During a public trial, you can choose to not say anything. You could know who killed them, but you don't want to say because they're paying you a lot of money. Now, Amendment number 6. That's 6 right here. Now, this is your right to a speedy and public trial. Right? Okay, you go in, you get tried, you get out. That's what we're talking about here. Now, Amendment 7. This is your right to a trial by jury when the sum exceeds $20. Now, of course, that amount has changed, I believe. But at this time, $20 was a lot. This is the sum. When it exceeds 20, you can request a trial by jury. Now, Amendment number 8. No excessive bails or fines. Fines, you just pay a fee. Bails are to get you out of jail. Now, Amendment number 9. This is other rights not enumerated are also in effect. Basically, the People's Right Amendment is in effect. And Amendment 10, the final amendment to the Bill of Rights, is unlisted powers in the Constitution belong to the state. This is the States' Rights Amendment. Basically, if it's not listed in the Constitution, it is a power that belongs to the state. So if they're saying their control on alcohol at this point, basically that is the state's choice. They can choose how to control it, how to punish it, whatever they want to do. Now, as you heard, the courts were mentioned a lot in this Bill of Rights here. So in 1789, same year as the Constitution, mind you, the Judiciary Act of 1789 came into effect. Basically, this created effective federal courts for the public. This allowed them to go and get fair trials by people who do not know them. That's what a jury is. It's a bunch of people who don't know who you are and are unbiased on the case to give a fair ruling. Now, John Jay became the first Chief Justice of the United States federal court system. During this time, George Washington is our first president of the United States, and he kind of established a very diverse cabinet of diverse people with diverse interests, of diverse backgrounds, of diverse personalities. Now, the first, Thomas Jefferson, represented here by myself, rocking the old coat, the wig, and these are a little bit more modern, but I like them. Now, he was the Secretary of State. He would be the vice president for the second president after he lost the election to him. And he did eventually become president, don't worry there. But that's out of this chapter. So, Alexander Hamilton is not the musical, but based on the person. He was a Secretary of the Treasury, and we'll get to him later on. He's got a lot of big ideas that I think you guys want to know about. And then Henry Knox is the Secretary of War. So, Hamilton. He was born in the British West Indies, so he has got a little bit of British in there. So people questioned his loyalty to the United States of America. However, he did claim he loved his adopted country more than the Brits over there, over the seas. They were far away. He didn't care about them. Or so he said. Now, he had a lot to do with the national debt, which at this time was a whopping $75 million. Now, however, Alexander Hamilton was a cool cat, and he was uncommonly unworried about it. Now, he used this debt as an asset when he thought the more people that the government owed money to, the more people would care about what happened to the U.S. as a nation. The reasoning behind this, if someone owes you money, you want that money back. So you're going to make sure that they are alive and well to give it back to you, and you make sure they prosper so you prosper. Now, he had a couple ideas to help pay off the debt. First of all, he proposed custom duties, and the first one of these was imposing a relatively low tariff of about 8% on the value of dutiable imports. This was passed in 1789. He also wanted to protect America's infant industries to make sure they can fluster and grow and provide income for the United States. This is pretty cool. Now, Hamilton versus Jefferson, myself. Basically, Hamilton wanted a national treasury, and he wanted it to be a private institution that was modeled after the Bank of England. And he wanted the federal government as a major stockholder and able to circulate cash to stimulate businesses, store excess money, and print money that was actually worth something. You see, paper money was quite worthless during this time. Goods and services instead were traded. Now, Jefferson opposed this. He thought it was unconstitutional. Basically, he thought it was a tool for the rich to better themselves. So we had two viewpoints, Hamilton's and Jefferson's. Hamilton here thought that basically what was not forbidden in the Constitution was permitted. So they didn't say it, so it's okay. Jefferson was the opposite. He thought just because they didn't say it doesn't mean it's okay. Jefferson also thought the bank should be state-controlled relating to the 10th Amendment. This, which says the state powers that the states get the powers, dang it, I can't speak. The states get the powers that aren't listed in the Constitution. So it doesn't say anything about banks, so states get the bank power. Right? Cool. Awesome. Basically, the end result here, Hamilton came up over top of Jefferson, and Jefferson was beat out. At this point, Washington reluctantly signed the bank measure into law. It was created by Congress in 1791 officially and chartered for a total of 20 years. Which, fun fact from the previous sessions of this video, population doubles in that amount of time. Crazy fact. So the bank loses its charter, population has doubled. Awesome. Now, it was located in Philadelphia and basically had a capital of about $10 million. And the stock in it was thrown to public sale. And surprisingly, a very large crowd oversubscribed in 2 hours. That is 120 minutes and a lot of seconds and a lot of milliseconds. I don't feel like mathing right now. But that's what's going on with Hamilton at this time. Now, these Pennsylvania, basically 1794, we got something called the Whiskey Rebellion. Basically, what happened, fed up farmers revolted against Hamilton's taxes, which we talked about in the last couple minutes of this video. And basically, they believed that they had been unfairly singled out to be taxed. Why? Because in these parts, liquor and alcohol was often used as money instead of money. So these taxes caused them to pay more for basically what was their money. Now, in response to this, George Washington, our president, very, very cautiously sent an army of about 13,000 troops. That's 13,000 individuals from multitude of states to the revolution or revolt happening at this time, which was called, again, Whiskey Rebellion. Now, when they arrived, the soldiers found absolutely nothing because the rebels had scattered. Now, this did show how Washington's new presidency now commanded new respect, as well as kind of showed how the Anti-Federalists criticized the government's use of a sledgehammer to crush a fly. Basically, big hammer, little fly, overcompensation. Now, what's the lesson of the Whiskey Rebellion here? The government, which, unlike people believe the articles were, was strong. Now, also during this time, the French Revolution. The pretty girls over there with the hat, eating croissants, they were revolting. That's right, little peaceful Frenchies were getting up and rioting. Now, they said, we're done. It started off a lot like the United States Revolution. However, the Federalists, they were on the side of it, basically. They were overjoyed. They were like, yeah, revolution, awesome. Now, then it turned bloody and bloodshed and massacres. Then they started saying like, oh, I don't want to be involved with this. Why? Because they were wrong. The revolutions aren't always a good thing. They can never really come peacefully as believed by some people, such as the Jeffersonians. Now, partially due to this revolution in France, George Washington initiated something called the Neutrality Proclamation. Basically, this said, we're out, we're not involved. It also warned citizens, don't you get involved, we're not going to help. Please do not get involved with foreign nations. Why? Because during this time, we were economically weak as well as militarily weak, and we were disunited politically. We were not ready for another war after just getting out of a major one. We just fought for our freedom. Let's take a break, all right? Alright, sorry guys, but that's all the time I got today. That was Chapter 10, Launching a New Ship of State. That was APUSH, AP US History again. Now, check out my other videos, which will be linked here, except they won't because this is the only video I'm producing. But still, like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what's up. You want me to make another video, but I won't because this is a project. But still, let me know. I'll think about making the video, then probably not do it unless it really interests me. Now, hope you guys have a great time. Study for that AP US History exam. Get that 5. Also, buy 5 Steps to a 5. This is not a paid advertisement at all. I'm not getting paid at all for that. 5 Steps to a 5. 5 Steps to a 5. Steps goes right here, but I'm not going to put it there. Now, remember, subscribe, like, again, comment, hit that, smash. If this is the like button, smash it. Awesome. Have a great day, guys. Study for APUSH, everybody.